On the record in two cases. First case is cause number 326138. And the second case is cause number 326722. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Centarius Chavis. Mr. Chavis, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Chavis, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole? Mr. Chavis, please raise your right hand. Mr. Chavis, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Chavis?
I'm doing good.
That's good. Mr. Chavis, the first case, which is cause number 326138, alleges that on or about February 10th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of theft by mail from mail. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Chavis, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are actually guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Chavis, I have before me what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. On page 2 of this document, Mr. Chavis, there are a set of initials under the paragraph that is titled waiver on the line that says guilty. Are these your initials, CC?
Yes.
And under the paragraph that is titled discovery admonishment, there are a set of initials, CC, on the line that states, I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and chose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Are these your initials on this document?
Yes.
Also, on page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that says defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document, which is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature above the line that says defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
And at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Understand.
Now, Mr. Chavis, prior to signing and initialing these documents, Mr. Chavis, you were read the judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney. And in that document, it stated that you had a right to either hire an attorney, or if you did not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney to be appointed to represent you, or you may represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
After the court finished the full explanation to you, you informed the court that you wanted to waive your right to an attorney and to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Correct.
And after that, the court read to you a waiver of counsel, which is included in the waiver in State's Exhibit number 1. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, did you have an opportunity to read State's Exhibit number 1 and the misdemeanor and the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal?
Yes.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chavis, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, which is the misdemeanor plea admonishment. This is the document, Mr. Chavis, that have your initials on page 2 and your signature on page 3. The state would like to use this document as evidence against you in your case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence against you in your case?
Yes.
Okay, no objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Chavis, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
Mr. Chavis, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it's for 30 days, and I just realized I need to reflect this on the plea paperwork, but it's to run concurrent with cause number 326722.
Mr. Chavis, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Now, Mr. Chavis, you will also be required to pay court costs, in this case, of $332. Mr. Chavis, would you be able to pay that court cost?
No.
Okay, now, Mr. Chavis, are you employed?
Unemployed.
Okay, now, Mr. Chavis, are you receiving Medicaid?
No.
SSI?
No.
SNAP?
None.
TANF?
No.
And do you live in public housing?
I stay with my wife way in Denison, Texas.
Okay. Now, are you receiving any child support?
No.
Does your spouse have an income?
No. Oh, my wife, yeah, she have an income, but she can't pay though, because she got bills to pay.
I know, but how much do your wife make a month, her monthly income?
I don't even know, to tell you the truth.
Okay. And do you receive any type of other governmental assistance or checks?
None.
Okay, now, what is your rent per month?
230, 250 a week. But I don't pay nothing.
Okay, but I mean, you say you're living with someone?
Yeah, I was staying with her. Like, I'm still down to this point, but it ain't gonna make no difference because I have other cases and other charges.
Okay. So you're saying you're not paying any, you don't have any rent?
I don't pay, she pay rent.
Okay, what about utility bills?
I don't pay anything.
Are you required to pay child support?
I don't have no kids.
Okay, what about your food expenses? Do you have to pay for food?
She pay everything.
Okay, so you don't have no transportation costs?
None.
Okay, so you don't have no income and no bills, and so the court is gonna find that you are indigent. And the court is going to waive the court cost of $332, okay? All right, now, Mr. Chavis.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Chavis, this case is also running concurrent with cause number 326722. Okay. Now, Mr. Chavis, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Chavis. I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. And Mr. Chavis, you have another case. And this case is cause number 326722. In this case, the information alleges that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of failure to identify fugitive from justice on or about February 10th of 2020 while you were in Jefferson County, Texas. Mr. Chavis, do you understand what you have been charged with?
I understand.
And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, and no contest?
Guilty.
Okay, Mr. Chavis, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, which is the misdemeanor plea admonishment. On page 2 of this document, Mr. Chavis, there are a set of initials on a line that says guilty and on a line that says you're waiving your request for discovery. Are these your initials?
Yes.
And on page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that says defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document, which is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature above the line that says defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
I understand.
The second case states that you're waiving, which means that you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
I understand.
And Mr. Chavis, prior to signing and initiating these documents, the court explained to you your rights as a defendant without an attorney. You were informed that you had a right to either hire an attorney, or if you did not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney to be appointed to represent you, or you may represent yourself. And after reading the total judge's explanation, you informed the court that you wanted to waive your right to an attorney and to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the court read to you the waiver that is in the misdemeanor plea admonishment on page 2, in the waiver of counsel. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, prior to signing and initiating this document, did you have an opportunity to read these documents?
Yes.
And did you read these documents?
Yes.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes.
Is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chavis, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State's Exhibit number 1 is the document that have your initials on page 2 and your signature on page 3. The state would like to use this document as evidence against you in this case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence against you in your case?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Chavis, is there any evidence that you're currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No.
Okay, Mr. Chavis, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 30 days to run concurrent with cause number 326138.
Okay. Mr. Chavis, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail, and also you're required, you would be required to pay court costs of $327. However, the court is going to waive your court costs because the court have found you to be indigent. And this case will also run concurrent with cause number 326138. Mr. Chavis, do you understand the state's offer?
Understand.
And do you understand the court's judgment?
Understand.
Now, do you think that the offer to judgment is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the offer and the judgment?
I accept.
Okay, Mr. Chavis, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you've entered into with the state. Mr. Chavis, please have a good day and follow the directions of the bailiff. You may be excused.